Samira and Benedict, it was the kind of story you could have written in a book. Two souls bound by friendship, fighting side by side against the storms of life. They grew up in the same humble neighborhood of Yapagon, sat on the same school benches, shared dreams of greatness, and meals made with little, but filled with laughter. They had a promise. The day one of us makes it, she will never leave the other behind. They made that vow at 17, in a barely furnished room, lit by a single light bulb. Then one day, that promise was put to the test. Benedict landed a position at a major communications company in Abidjan. Just an internship at first, nothing big. But she stood out. She had talent, ambition, and an energy that commanded respect. In just a few months, she rose through the ranks at lightning speed. She got promoted, opened doors to new opportunities, met influential people. Benedict changed. She dressed differently. Her Instagram was full of photos on private beaches, cocktails on the trendiest rooftops in Abidjan, selfies with local celebrities. And little by little, Samira faded from that new world. The messages Samira used to get replies to in minutes now went unanswered for days. When she called, Benedict sometimes replied with a simple text. "I'm in a meeting, I'll call you back." But she never called back. Yet Samira wasn't asking for much. She just wanted to stay connected, to share her little wins or hard times. And sometimes she asked for help. One day, Samira called, her voice trembling. "Bene, I don't want to take advantage, but this month is really tough. I haven't been paid yet, and my landlord wants to kick me out. Can you help me with the rent just this once? I'll pay you back as soon as I can." On the phone, Benedict sighed softly before answering. "Of course, sweetheart. I'll send it today. Promise." Samira felt instant relief. But hours passed. Then days. No mobile money. No bank transfer, no message. When she called back, Benedict no longer answered. Another time, Samira invited her over for a simple Sunday meal, just like old times. Riz sauce grain, their favorite. Benedict agreed. "Yes, I'm even bringing some wine. Let's chill and relive the good old days." But that Sunday, Samira waited. 1 hour. 2. 3. The food got cold. Benedict never showed up. And she didn't even apologize. Little by little, Samira understood. She realized that her childhood friend, the one she had shared everything with, had left her behind. Not by accident, but by choice. A silent, cruel choice, hidden behind excuses, unkept promises. "I'll send it soon. We'll meet soon. I haven't forgotten you." While every day proved otherwise. And when a true friend realizes she's no longer part of the equation, she doesn't beg. She steps away. Not out of pride, but to protect what little dignity she has left. Samira started to rebuild her life in silence, with a pain buried deep in her heart. Meanwhile, Benedict's image was everywhere. On TV, online, always glowing, always rich, always surrounded. Months went by, and while Benedict shone under the spotlight, Samira sank deeper into the shadows. Every morning, she got up early, despite sleepless nights filled with anxiety. She dressed modestly, often in the same carefully ironed clothes, and went out in search of a job. CV in hand, hope in her smile, she knocked on the doors of companies, always polite, always motivated. "Good morning. I came to apply for a position. I have experience in management. I'm a quick learner." She almost always got the same response. "Thank you. We'll keep your file. We'll get back to you." But no one ever called. She came home exhausted. Not just from the walking or the heat, but from the kind of fatigue you can't see. The weight of silent rejection, of a life that doesn't answer back, of doors that never open. Her tiny apartment was becoming emptier by the week. One day, she sold her little radio. Another day, a pair of sandals she loved. The rent kept piling up. The electricity was cut off for several days. One night, she had nothing but a cup of hot water with sugar for dinner. So she picked up her phone. She didn't like it, but she had no choice. She called Grace, an old classmate. "Gracie, I don't want to bother you, but could you help me a little? I just need 10,000 francs more to complete the rent. If not, My landlord's going to kick me out. Grace replied, genuinely. Samira, I don't have 10,000, but I can send you 5,000. Is that okay? Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Really? Then, Grace added. But why don't you ask Benedict? She made it big, didn't she? She's got money now. She's everywhere, even on TV. Samira hesitated. A lump formed in her throat. No, it's okay. She's too busy. I don't want to bother her. And, besides, she's already doing a lot. That wasn't true. Benedict did nothing for her. Even when Samira called her in tears to say the power had been cut, Benedict simply replied, I'm traveling, I'll see what I can do. But she never did anything. And despite all that, Samira never spoke badly of Benedict. She refused to think that way. Not out of naivety, but because deep down, she still hoped that one day, her childhood friend would remember, that she would come back, that she would reach out. So, she kept looking for work. She held on to every tiny bit of hope. One time, someone offered her an unpaid internship at a shop. She accepted, just to stay active, just to avoid completely fading away. At night, alone in her dark room, she would think about their promises. The day one of us makes it, she will never leave the other behind. And she would whisper into the silence, You left me, Bene, but I won't curse you. Samira kept going to the shop where she had started as an intern. At first, the position was unpaid, but the manager, moved by her dedication, eventually decided to give her a little something, 40,000 CFA francs per month. It wasn't much, but for Samira, it was a ray of light. With that, she paid part of her rent, covering the rest with small arrangements. She also did some cleaning jobs here and there to make ends meet. She managed, as they say. But most of all, every night she prayed. In her little room, on her knees, sometimes in darkness, sometimes by candlelight, she spoke to God with simple, sincere words. My God, I don't blame you. I know you see everything. I'm not asking for riches. I just want a real opportunity, something to lift me up, to restore my dignity. You've given me the strength to keep going. Now I ask for light. She never missed her prayers. Not even on the nights she was exhausted. Not even when she hadn't eaten. Not even when tears ran down her cheeks. And then one day something happened. A phone call. An unknown number. Hello, good morning. Miss Samira? Yes, speaking. You submitted an application at our company a few months ago. We just came across your file again. We're going through a small management crisis, and your profile caught our attention. Could you come in tomorrow? Samira's heart pounded. She didn't want to get her hopes up too fast. She hung up, dropped to her knees once more, and whispered, Thank you. My God, thank you already. The next day, she wore her white, freshly ironed shirt, the same one she'd worn for years, and her neat black trousers. She went to the address. A mid-sized company, but well-established. They explained they had issues with document organization and client account delays, and they needed someone reliable and methodical. Samira listened carefully, took notes, and simply said, Give me 1 week. I'll sort everything out. And she did. With seriousness, precision, and discipline. She stayed late on some days, walked home on others, but she got the job done. The managers were impressed. She was officially hired. Not for a huge salary, no, but for 200,000 CFA francs. For Samira, it was a blessing. It was more than money, it was recognition. It was a new beginning. She kept praying, kept working, kept saving. She rented a slightly better studio. She even bought a small gift for the shop manager who had once given her a chance. She began to smile again, to hope again. And then that day came. A day like any other. A meeting. An important client was visiting the company. A discreet, elegant, calm man. The staff whispered that he was a billionaire, owner of several companies in Africa and Europe. Samira stayed focused, polite as always. She welcomed him, guided him to the meeting room, took notes, coordinated the exchange. At the end of the meeting, he looked at her for a long moment, then asked to speak with her privately. In his office, he said, "Miss Samira, I observe people more than I speak. And I've observed you. You're serious, humble, organized. Profiles like yours are rare." Samira, flustered, thanked him quietly. He continued, "I need a personal manager. Someone to assist me with my private affairs, my schedule, my accounts, my personal projects. It's not an easy job, but if you accept, I'm offering you 1 million CFA francs a month to start." Silence. Samira felt her hands trembling slightly. She lowered her head, closed her eyes for a moment, and in her heart, she said, "My God, it's you. I knew I could count on you." She looked up, eyes shining, and said, "I accept." He smiled. "Very well. You start Monday." When she stepped out of that office, Samira didn't cry. Not right away. She walked calmly home. She knelt down like always, but this time not to ask, just to say, "Thank you. Thank you, my God. You were the one who saw my nights. The one who wiped my tears when no one answered. You're the one who lifted me back up." That day, Samira understood something. You can be forgotten by people, but never by God. The first day Samira entered her new home, she could hardly believe it. It was a service villa, as the billionaire had called it. A large house in an upscale neighborhood of Abidjan. Automatic gate, a lush garden, 3 bedrooms, air conditioning in every room, and a spacious, fully equipped kitchen. Next to the house stood a car. A sleek, black sedan, shiny and elegant. "It's yours," the billionaire had said. "You need to be comfortable to do your job well." Samira was speechless. Tears flowed without her even realizing it. She remembered the days with no electricity, the nights where dinner was just sugar water, the silence from Benedict, the 5,000 francs from Alta Grace. She knelt down on the cold tiles of the empty living room, and for the 100th time in her life, she whispered, "Thank you, my God." Months passed. Samira remained efficient, meticulous, true to herself. The billionaire trusted her completely. He gave her more and more responsibilities, managing his properties, coordinating his travels, monitoring his investments. One day, after an especially intense quarter, the billionaire walked into her office and said, "You've done excellent work, Samira. Take 2 weeks off. Go rest. I'm offering you a trip, wherever you like." She stared at him in disbelief. "Wherever I like?" "Wherever. And take someone with you if you want." That same evening, she called Alta Grace. "Gracie." "Yes, Samira? Get your passport ready. We're going to Paris next week." There was a long silence on the other end. "Huh? Paris what?" "Paris, France. The real one. Not Paris Cocody. I'll explain later." Arriving in Paris was a shock for Alta Grace. They were greeted at the airport by a chauffeur in a black suit, holding a sign, "Miss Samira." A black Mercedes waited outside. Alta Grace didn't even dare speak. "Samira, who's your husband exactly?" Laughing. "It's not a husband. It's my boss." They stayed in a 5-star hotel, right in the heart of Paris. Breakfast served in their room. A view of the Eiffel Tower. Spa treatments, massages, pampering. Everything was paid for. They toured the city, dined at luxury restaurants, shopped in the most expensive boutiques. At every turn, Alta Grace looked at Samira with admiration and a touch of disbelief. "But Samira, girl, you've really become someone." And Samira would smile, humble, grateful. "It's God who opened the door, Gracie. And you helped me when no one else did." I'll never forget that. One evening, as they dined in a Michelin-starred restaurant, Samira looked around. The golden chandeliers, the vintage wine, the waiters in white gloves. She remembered the shop. The 40,000 CFA. The landlord's insults. Her knees sore from prayer. And now she was here, living this other life. But she hadn't become arrogant. She didn't despise her past. On the contrary, she carried it like a medal, a living proof that God never sleeps. 2 weeks later, she returned to Côte d'Ivoire. At the airport, the chauffeur was waiting. The car was there. She returned to her office, opened her laptop, and got back to work. as if nothing had changed.
But one thing had changed.
She now knew she had entered her season, and she was just getting started.
Samira's world had changed.
Not just because of luxury or new responsibilities, but because of recognition. This time, she was no longer working in the shadows. Her boss, impressed by her discipline and ability to handle even the most delicate affairs, made her an unexpected offer. Samira, I have an economic conference in Washington. I won't be able to attend. I want you to represent me. You've got the brains, the elegance, the professionalism. Go show the world what an African woman can do. Samira was stunned. She prepared thoroughly, wrote her speech with care, and practiced for days. Then the day of the conference arrived. A massive auditorium. Hundreds of seats. Dignitaries from all over the world. Cameras, lights, microphones. She walked onto the stage, calm, composed. Her words were powerful. Her gaze was confident. She spoke about structure, leadership, vision, and transformation. In the crowd, a familiar figure. Benedict, sitting in the back, shocked. Eyes wide. She couldn't believe it. That's Samira? She leaned toward the woman beside her. Do you know her?
Yes.
She's the personal manager of the African billionaire everyone's talking about here. A very powerful woman. Highly respected. A strange heat filled Benedict's stomach, a mix of embarrassment, regret, and silent admiration. She stayed until the end. After the conference, she waited for Samira in the lobby. When she saw her coming out, surrounded by 3 assistants, she stepped forward, hesitantly. Samira, my childhood friend, it's me, Benedict. Samira stopped. She looked at her, a long, deep look. Not harsh, but distant. Almost neutral.
Benedict.
Yes, it's me. I'm so proud of you. Honestly, you've changed so much, in the best way. Can we talk for a bit? Samira smiled faintly, glanced at her watch. Sorry, I have a meeting with the president. I have to go. She turned and walked away. Benedict stood there, alone, lost in a world she no longer controlled. In the weeks that followed, Benedict sent messages. Long ones, short ones, sincere, awkward, desperate. She called. Nothing. Samira never responded. One evening, sitting in a New York skyscraper, staring at the city lights, Samira looked up at the sky through the glass. She sighed. Lord, I don't hate her, but I won't allow hypocrites around me anymore. I prayed too hard to get here. I deserve peace, not opportunistic comebacks. A few days later, Benedict dared to send one last message. A request. Samira, I need you. Please help me. I'm going through something really hard. Samira finally replied. Just one message. No, Benedict. I can't. You're not coming back to me out of love or friendship. You're coming back because I'm rich now. If I were still in that room with no electricity, you wouldn't be here. Silence. Then Benedict wrote, I know what I did, or better yet, what I didn't do, but I want to make it right. Samira chose not to reply. She just sighed and said, I'm not angry. I've simply understood. Some hearts only come back when your bank account becomes visible. I've chosen peace, and peace does not live with hypocrisy. And you, dear viewers, if you were in Samira's place, what would you have done? Would you have reached out to Benedict? Or, like Samira, would you have protected your peace? Tell us in the comments. We want to hear what you would have done.